Peace and love, y'all. It's your brother A.D.V.I.S. back with another episode of What's the Word Wednesdays, Season 3, Episode 17. Now, as we usually do, I'm going to go ahead and get started with putting up, of course, the logo for this season, as well as I'm going to be putting down in the comments the topics that we have for tonight and pinning them. But as I'm doing that, y'all let me know how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, and what's the word. Whether if it's a good word, whether if it's news, whatever it is. Tell me what's the word. Or even if it's a single word, let me know. But as that's going on too, shouts out to those who are going to be watching this now as well as watching this later, whether on Instagram or YouTube. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, like, share, do all of that stuff for your boy at A.D.V.I.S. Speaks. Because again, this stuff goes up on there and other content is coming to the channel. So please go ahead and subscribe over there at A.D.V.I.S. Speaks. And as that's going on, for today's episode, y'all, we're going to be talking about current events like we usually do. So I do some of the news. Then second, we're going to talk about guiding light and explain that further. And lastly, we're going to talk about where do you part ways with your past. And as you're seeing the loop, you get to see it and it makes sense. But that's what we're going to be doing for today for episode 17. We're going to be going over those topics and just keeping it moving like we usually do. So shouts out to everybody's up in here. Much love to you. And hopefully all has been well with you on this Wednesday. On this day to communicate and connect with people. After depleting my own uncertainty, you versus me, I should say. But yes, again, we'll give it a bit of time and then we're going to go with the show song. And after the show song, we'll get into speaking about the news. If you don't want to see the news or hear the news, you can go ahead and skip 20 or so minutes ahead. Same thing with those y'all in here. You can come back in another 20 minutes, 20, 30, I'll say 20 to 25 minutes. And then we'll move on to the next topic, which will be talking about the guiding light. So if you're ready, then you come back. But yeah, can't rush me. I'm going to go when I go, when I want to go. But yeah. But with that, y'all, let's go ahead and let's jump in to the show song. What's going on, Kundan? Good to see you in here. Y'all tuned in for another episode. I keep saying it, but just letting you know, got one more after this for this season. And this is how the song goes. If you're ready, go ahead. Come on. What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? Tell them like, what's the word? What's the word? What you heard? We gotta know, yeah, what's the word? Once again, y'all, it's your brother A.D.V.I.S. and we are here with another episode of What's the Word Wednesday, Season 3, Episode 17. And yes, again, this is the second to last episode. Next week will be the season finale of What's the Word Wednesday Season 3. But for right now, we're sticking with 17. So thank y'all for coming in today. Shouts out to Kundan. I see you in here, man. Shouts out to Chris. Shouts out to everybody that's out there watching. So thank y'all for coming through and taking your time to support and just listen to me ramble at times, as well as share your own thoughts. It's much appreciated. Once again, we're going to be getting into, for today's episode, we're going to be talking about current events. I'm going to get the news portion. Second, we're going to talk about guiding light. And lastly, we're going to talk about where do you part ways with your past, or even if you do or not. So with that, y'all, let's go ahead and let's get into the first topic, which is current events. Now, most of the stuff that I've been seeing, again, it is based around COVID. I did read a few articles on other stuff, but I did not put them to be shared for today or for tonight. So most of it is going to be based around a lot of health related and a few others. But with that, y'all, let's get into the first article. So the first article I have is actually a continuation piece from a other previous article, which this one comes from the Jalopkin, and the title of it reads, New Study Links COVID-19 Vaccination Status to Increased Risk of Car Crashes. Now this is very interesting. So again, the article reads, New study links COVID-19 vaccination status to increased risk of car crashes. As I usually do, I'm going to do 3 paragraphs and we're out and repeat. So then if you want to go listen and check it out more for yourself to read, it'll be there for you. So article reads as follows. Science as a way of presenting actual facts and connecting dots you likely didn't see ever connecting. For instance, would you have thought to find a link between the people who decided to pass on getting vaccinated against COVID-19 and traffic accidents? A recent study published in the American Journal of Medicine shares the science behind such a link that actually exists. In the study, Canadian researcher examined over 11 million COVID-19 vaccination records of individuals of the age 18 and over who would be licensed from different social, economic, and health backgrounds. Of those 11 million, 16% were not vaccinated. Research then looked into the records and identified unvaccinated individuals and then how they're linked with diseases that are linked to, traffic risk, such as dementia, diabetes, sleep apnea, and alcohol abuse, and then looked into the traffic accident side of things. Those situations including incidents that sent patients to the emergency room, time and day, ambulance involving a triage severity score. So for the most part of what they're seeing is they're looking at all of these different links for folks, again, who did not decide to take the shot and traffic accidents. The major finding that I want to at least say that it is from the study says, one thing the study did admit that the correlation does not mean causality. Doesn't mean that it causes it. Because you don't get the shot, that means you're not going to get into car accidents. But the study did not try to touch on whether or not there was a link between not getting the vaccine and driving recklessly. But the author of the study did speculate. So a lot of this is still in the air for speculation. Because I don't know if some of y'all who's been driving, at least out here in California, I don't know around the U.S. how it's been, but the driving here has been ridiculous, as well as it's been extremely, extremely unsafe. And I will say that I have, like a few months back, actually did get into a car accident myself. And you can figure out all the other statuses of what I decided to do or not. But it's just very interesting to put that into statistic form and figure out whether or not, if that's real or not. But if y'all want to read more on it, the article comes again from Jalopkin, and the headline reads, New study links COVID-19 vaccination status to increased risk of car accidents. Just adding it. Now, following off of that one, and I'm going to briefly touch on it, I'm not going to read anymore because it has basically the same information from the previous article. But this article comes from Autoblog, and this article's headline reads, Not vaccinated against COVID, it could raise your auto insurance rates. So, you not having the shot could raise your auto insurance rates. And that's based off of the previous article talking about those speculations between those who did not get the shot and having a 70% more risk of being in a severe car crash than the average driver. I didn't add that piece in there, but that's that piece in there. So because if that's the case, you should pay for and have more money or charges to you when it comes to car insurance. Just reporting. That's all I'm seeing this saying right here. But if you want to read this whole article, this one comes from Autoblog, and the headline reads, "Not vaccinated against COVID, it could raise your auto insurance rates." All right. Next thing I got for y'all. We got more stuff going on with health. And this one comes from NBC News. And the article's headline reads, U.S. hospitals report rise in severe strep A infections amongst kids after 15 deaths in UK. So again, 3 paragraphs and we're out. I'll share it again so you can read more for yourself. Article reads, several children's hospitals in the U.S. have detected increases in invasive group A strep infections, a severe and sometimes life-threatening illness that occurs when bacteria spreads to areas of the body that are normally germ-free, such as the bloodstream. Children's Hospital in Arizona, Colorado, Texas, Washington told NBC News they are seeing a higher than average number of cases this season compared to past years. Dr. James Servolic, if I'm saying that. You come here for me to butcher names. Servolic, a pathologist in chief at the Texas Children's Hospital, says that his facility, the largest pediatric hospital in the U.S., has seen a greater than fourth-fold increase in potentially invasive infections in the last 2 months relative to the same time period in 2021. So, again, if you want to read more, I'm not going to lay it all out, but we know this is usually around the time for flu season, and a lot of folks are getting sick. So please take care of yourself, get the vitamins, get the nutrients, get all of those different herbs to help yourself and fight against this flu season that we usually call during the winter. Now, if you want to read more again, this article came from NBC News, and the article read, headline, U.S. hospitals report rise in severe strep A infections among kids after 15 deaths in UK. Now, yes, I'm continuing to talk about more health and spreading of different infections and stuff. I just want to bring up an update or just add more of the COVID stuff. So this article comes from Prevention, which you can just Google the headline I'm going to give you. But the headline reads, the fast-spreading new COVID-19 variant, XBB, so now we ain't got the numbers right now. Now we get back to some letters. XBB is part of a new class, in quotations, new class of Omicron. So again, 3 paragraphs, and we out of there. So, article reads, for the past several months, Omicron subvariants BA.4 and BA.5 have dominated COVID-19 cases in the U.S. But now there is a class of new COVID more subvariants on the rise, and one in particular is getting plenty of attention. It's called XBB or Griffin. However, again, I'm butchering words. That's what you also come here to see. And there's a chance it could overtake everything else out there. XBB is getting a lot of buzz because it spreads fast and seems to be able to evade immunity that people have built up from having previous COVID-19 infections or getting the vaccine. Listen, I'm going to repeat it. Listen, catch it. When we read this stuff, we read intentionally. XBB is getting a lot of buzz because it spreads fast and seems to be able to evade immunity that people have built up from having a previous COVID-19 infection or getting the vaccine, says William Schaffner, MD, an infectious disease specialist and professor at Vanderbilt University School of Medicine. Still, Dr. Schaffer says, Schaffer says, it's early days and we have a lot to learn. And last thing to say of what it is. So what is XBB? XBB is the new class of Omicron variant that spreads very fast now, says Thomas Russo, another professor in chief of infectious disease at University at Buffalo in New York. That includes BQ1.1, BQ.1, BQ.1.3, BA.2.3.20. Again, all these numbers for this stuff, a lot of these codes, and XBB. But yes, if you want to read more, you'll find out. But just to let you know, this variant was first detected in August 2022 in India. Another one to see in there. But let's go ahead, and if you want to read more, the article can be found at Prevention, and the headline reads, the fast-spreading new COVID-19 subvariant XBB is a part of a new class of Omicron. Right. Last article I got for you all tonight, and after that, we'll move to the next topic. But if you guys have any articles, any news that you want to share, please put them down in the comments. Please go ahead, follow along, and listen. Do all of those things so that, again, I'm grateful for you sharing and for us knowing whether it's good news or not. So, this next article comes from Fox News, and the headline reads, Canadian University says economics professor position only open to applicants who self-identify as black. Let me say that again. Canadian University says economics professor position only open to applicants who self-identify as black. We'll continue. 3 paragraphs were out. I'll read it again so you can get the title and read for yourself. All right. The article reads, a Canadian university is only accepting applicants who again, in quotes, self-identify as black, end quotes, for a tenured track teaching position in economics. Toronto Metropolitan University posted the job listing for a tenured track position in applied microeconomics or economics on November 21st and states on its website that the school is committed to addressing the underrepresentation of black faculty. Successful candidates will self-identify as black or African descent, and they have examples of heritage of people from either the Caribbean, Americas, or Europe, and will demonstrate strong potential for excellence and willingness to and ability to contribute to teaching, scholarly research, or creative activity and service while maintaining an inclusive, equitable, and collegial work environment across all activities, the job posting states. Again, it said, Stefan, yeah, I saw that as well, too. Yes, I saw that as well. I just finished reading that article. That was one of them I was going to talk about. But yes. So, why is this somewhat of an outrage, or what's going on with that? Again, it already told you. They're putting it as a base to help all applicants. But in this case, it says self-identify as black. We know with what's going on with identity politics nowadays. So, this in itself is something that could be seen as controversial as well as misquoted, said, whatever it is. But if you want to read more, again, this article comes from Fox News, and the headline reads, Canadian University says economics professor position only, open to applicants who self-identify as black. And speaking of the comment I've seen here, it says Stephen Twitch boss passed away yesterday at age 40. He unlived himself. Yes, I looked at the article. The article I looked at didn't necessarily speak on the terms of what happened. It just spoke on all of his accolades and the people who were sending flowers to him and his family, as well as the statement from his wife. But it just goes to show you now that we say mental health is important, but the push for mental health and getting the proper help for that is still in need. And what I mean by that, as in, we say we need all of this, but then we still don't have affordable health care. We still don't have, what I mean by affordable, you have to follow and meet people where they're at. Yes, we have Medicaid or Medi-Cal, but affordable health care for folks who do want to go seek therapy and don't have the means to pick it out of pocket, may not have the means to other different resources to be able to tap into, and wonder why we have folks who feel overworked, who feel underappreciated, who feel that they have nothing else left to contribute to society because a lot of the different changes. And honestly, there's so much different variables that go into there, but just to speak on this, it's sad, and it's hard to see someone pick the choice to leave the earth, forever in that particular moment. But again, we will have to know more of the circumstances, but just know that your life is valuable. You are worth it. And what you may be going through at that moment in time, you can and will overcome it. And if more happens, please go out there, reach out for help. Please talk to someone. Please let someone in your inner circle know. Do not leave this within yourself. But yeah, again, send out my condolences to his family, all of his family, to his co-workers, all those who knew him and showed much love and respect for him. So may this be, again, another reminder of how important it is to check in with people. And not in a sense to be like, oh, are you super depressed? Do you need more so? Just check in and see how people are doing. I don't know. Call your friends. Call homies and them. Just check in. I think a lot of this, like the technology and where we at now, we get so drawn into it that we create this new world on here and forget to check in on people in reality. We'll hit people up on the social medias and say hi real quick, but in real life won't go out and come say what's up. So it's important to create that support system around you, and just don't forget how you know people. Just don't forget that, because you need the support. We all do. We all got here with two people, and we were taken care of by family, if not a group of people. We didn't do it on our own. So don't feel like that you have to be alone. That's my ramble. I'm done with that. But if y'all have any other news that y'all like to share, please put it in the comments, whether if it's good news, whether if it's more news to keep us aware, whatever it may be, please put them down in the comments. But that's all I have for news on this news portion. Shouts out to everybody that's up in here. I see you, Pasha. I see you in here two times, as well as Kundan. And I see you in here, my boy, RVY Powered Productions. But yeah, y'all. Let's go ahead, and as y'all are doing that, we're going to move to the next topic. But before we move to that next topic, got to give the disclaimer. My disclaimer to y'all is, if you are comfortable coming on and sharing your thoughts and being here on live with me, just know that this will be put on Instagram and YouTube for later on. And when you come on, you do waive your rights to be on here, and it will be in those platforms. If you are not comfortable, you are more than welcome to stay in the comments and speak your piece from there. But if you want to come on, just know that you are here, you're invited. It's just that it will be up on other platforms. So, there go the disclaimer. I would love to see y'all in here if you can. If not, please Comments is all well. Appreciate y'all time and support. Y'all could be anywhere else, but you're here. So thank y'all for being here. Now, next topic that we're going to be getting into. Speaking of all of this news and stuff going on, we're going to talk about guiding light, or a guiding light, or the guiding light, however you want to phrase that. And as I am about to look this stuff up, which I already have it up, but when you hear that wording or that phrase, guiding light, and this is for everybody, it's a question to everybody. When you hear guiding light, what comes to mind? Put it down in the comments. I even see y'all over there on YouTube. Put it down in the comments. Down in the comments. What does guiding light mean to you when you hear that? And as y'all are doing that, I'm going to pull it up and speak a bit on it. What's the sound? Look around. What's the sound? All right. So as y'all are putting in your ideas and stuff in the comments, from the free dictionary, because they didn't actually have it on Webster's, because this phrasing of guiding light is what we would call an idiom. And an idiom, for example, would be a phrasing to basically state a different meaning to something. And we were like, what the heck does that mean? So instead of me saying never in a million years, that basically means a no to whatever you're telling me. So that would be an idiom. Never in a million years basically is another way for saying no. Same thing with when pigs fly is another way of saying that will happen when that happens. As well as many more of the idioms, but more so guiding light is an idiom for someone that's there to inspire you. But let me read the definition. So on here it says guiding light, someone who is influential or an inspiration to others is what they call a guiding light. In the breakdown that they have for guiding light in here, it says a mentor or an exemplary principle. So they add also a principle. So a guiding light doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It can also be or an exemplary principle, something that you live by, a principle. Presumably, this expression refers to the light of a lantern or beacon guiding someone through the dark. The earliest transference of this idea was religious light, referring to God or the church. Thus, the American transcendentalist Theodore Parker wrote, "We look to thee. Thy truth is still the light, which guides the nations, grouping on their way." Or is another word, technically, but it's not grouping. Sometimes in the latter part of the 19th century, the term began to be used for secular mentors of various kinds. So it started to change its definitions towards the 1900s and such. But that's one of the definitions. The other one is the same thing. It's basically a celebrity who is an inspiration to others. It's a guiding light. Now, when asking me, you're like, okay, so what do you mean we're going to talk about guiding light? What is the guy like? What are you trying to get across? Honestly, the examples of we talked about earlier with Stephen Twitch Boss, as well as I need to make sure that I get his name. Let me see. The reason why I'm about to bring it up is because these are part of things for people. There it is. Jason David Frank, who also was the Power Rangers actor. I know he was both like the Green Ranger, the White Ranger. Like he was a number of different Power Rangers. He also ended up passing away. This is probably like a week or so things back. And he was seen, again, he's in that superhero in that light. So we're talking about that concept of a guiding light. This is an example of that. He was an example of that, not only through the roles that he played as a Power Ranger, but the way that he lived his life. Some of the videos and stuff that you could find of him, taking on that aspect of being a hero, even if it was a fictional, but in the real life. being a guiding light for folks who watch Power Rangers as kids and they got motivation. They got, it's not in a sense of like saying idolizing, but more so as in you learning something from that person that you watching that helps improve your life when we think of a guiding light. And the reason why I brought him up, and I'm bringing up Stephen Twitch boss as well too, is they're seen as those guiding lights, as role models when we think about it, even putting it further. And what does guiding lights really do for people? Again, they not only provide hope, but they also provide principles. They provide philosophies, ways to live life, examples on how to live. And some people who could also be guiding lights could also be people that you know not to follow when it comes to examples. So all of that mixed in together brings about this idea of what a guiding light is. Yes, there's more of it. I'm gonna delve through it, but that's just my initial piece that I wanted to speak on what a guiding light is. So I see y'all all up in here. Peace. Much love to y'all. Thank y'all coming through. I see you notes. Sincerely Notes the Truth. What's good, my G? What's the word? Now, why again continue to speak on a guiding light? Especially in a world so dark, a world so confusing, in a world where one thing may be true and the other is fake. How do you be able to discern? How do you be able to understand and fully unpack the experiences that you come across? How do you do that? And in that portion, again, you look for people, you look for things. Again, it doesn't have to be necessarily a person. It can be a guiding or exemplary principle that you live by, that philosophy. For some people, that example of a guiding light, it's the Bible. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. An acronym. Shouts out to Jizza. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. For some people, literally, the Bible provides a way and a guiding light. Religion in general, whether if it's the Torah, the Quran, whether it is text from Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, wherever it is, Christians, Catholics, those texts and the sayings from Jesus, Muhammad, all the other different gods and messiahs are seen as guiding lights. Even in the Bible, in particular, you have them saying that I am the way, the truth, and the light. Talking about all this guidance. And the parables that are spoken on, those are supposed to be messages that you can use to help improve upon yourself, improve upon your life. And you as a Christian, as whatever religious body that you subscribe to, can use to help in your everyday when you leave from the synagogue, from the church, from your mega church, wherever it is, your chapel, temple, and help that to guide you along the way. So just getting away from where it got done scrubbing my temple. Yeah, speaking of temple, exactly. And shouts out to the brother too at the temple. That's my G out there. I see you in Melbourne, Australia. Much love to you, my brother. You begin to mold yourself and create a foundation of awareness. I swear, every time I have songs, they play the same word I'm about to just say. Awareness of what to do next. Because as humans, I've said it before, we are very curious and we like to put things into labels, categories, and boxes so that we can know fully how to interact with it, because of we got the fight, fleas, fawn, all these different responses, because we was hunter-gatherers, all of those different primordial, if not programming that we've had previously for us to navigate this world. So a guiding light is definitely a way if I can give a visual, is you, for those who do take baths, or for those who get into hot tubs or get into pools, as is dipping your toes in to get a temperature check. So that's what some of the guiding lights, especially in principles, is to help with that. In the aspect of people, guiding lights can be used as what I would say, what is that remembering the phrasing? Vicarious learning. There you go. You can vicariously learn through your guiding light, whether if that is your role model, your mentor, or whoever that it is. Whatever they have learned or they are currently learning, you can vicariously learn through them, so that you don't necessarily have to go through that experience to get the knowledge. They will give you that knowledge from their experiences so that it can prevent you from either running into the same roadblocks or hindering your time that you could be using to get over other obstacles that are in your life. Now, the pros and cons, I would say, to being a guiding light, before saying having one, I'm going into you as a person. If someone looked up to you as a guiding light, one of the cons would end up being responsibility. And that is the big R word. I'm not talking about any other R words for folks, because of the fact that once you step into a position of leadership, or people see you as a leader or someone who is moving in that direction, you do, even if it's not, I'll give percentages, even if it's not 100%, but you still have between 40, 50, if not another percentage of responsibility for what you put out, what you say, and how you present yourself for those who are watching. Because even though you didn't want to put yourself in that light, maybe you did. If you didn't, you still have the youth. You still have young adults. You might even have older adults who are still open to hearing and seeing these things. See to what you're doing in the bigger stage as a leader, as their guiding light, without you even knowing. And those same actions, thoughts, beliefs, all can rub off on them. And just because I understand you're the individual, and people need to be able to separate the individual from whatever passion that you're in, sometimes that is very difficult for people to do so if they didn't take the time to sit down, observe, watch, and really discern what they need. If they're just watching and following blindly, you do, regardless. And that's going to be on your morals, your values, your principles, and your conscience of how you're going to interact that way with them. And what you do, they're going to pick it up. That's as a con, is you're going to be responsible, whether or not. You can talk about a song saying that you're going to go do this and that to the person, and then you wonder why people who follow you or subscribe to you or are watching you from the stands in any way, shape, or form pick up that habit that you've done or you've talked about. And then there's backlash. So I'm not going to keep quoting Uncle Ben, which I think there's even somewhere before that. There's more to that saying as well, too, when comes great power comes great responsibility. There's more to that, but it's very true. You become a leader, you have a bigger responsibility, and you have a lot more power because you have influence. So be careful and be cautious of how you use that influence, because you can use it for either side, or you can just be as neutral as possible. But that's one of the cons of being a guiding light. Now, a pro of being a guiding light, again, could be on the reverse, is that you understand that you have that responsibility and you take that time to actually help mold and provide resources, as well as provide skills to people for them to see it done in real time, so that they, in turn, can try it out for themselves, because they see their guiding light, their mentor, their role model doing it, And it either helps improve their life, stays the same, or it's just extra information that they can pass on to someone else to make use of. So whether you're going to take it on or you're not going to take it on, you still have that responsibility. Now, another pro that I can think of when it comes to seeing others being a guiding light. So that means you seeing and watching others. First one, of course, again, if they're improving upon and showing in their actions what they're doing is helpful, healthy, and again, growth oriented, that also helps you improve. That gives you a feeling of connectedness. You don't feel alone. You feel as in, oh, my mentor does these same things and I do the same things. Now you feel interconnected to that guiding light. Another pro, and this is, I would say, dips into both the pro and the con, is learning from that guiding light. You learn how to discern what things work for you and what things do not work for you and do not serve you. And you apply them yourself. And what I mean by that is, again, you see your role model doing some particular, I'll say, okay, maybe drinking for some people, whether if it's smoking, or it can be speaking a certain way. And for you, those are some things that you don't necessarily like to do, but you can understand why they do that. So for you, you step that to the side, but you'll still keep on liking the motivation of that guiding light or the role model, liking their talking points, but learning how to put them in your own words, as well as how they look and present themselves in a professional manner. You can still take those things on and then utilize it for yourself. So you can continue to improve and you can continue to be a better version of yourself, as well as having that community of people, because you guys are all connected by one person, which is that guiding light. Now, another con, because I'm going back and forth. We're doing a back and forth right now. I swear. I know. I'm just, again, I'm flabbergasted by the fact that every time I do something in a reference, a song in the background is saying a very similar word. I think that's just universal timing, but forget about what I'm saying right now with that. Another con of seeing someone as a role model or seeing that someone as a guiding light is it can also create a inherent bias as well as an idolization of the person. So in your mind, this person has done so much good for you in your life. It's helped you promote stuff. And when they start to see changes in behavior from that role model or from that guiding light, and that light starts to dim, the cognitive dissonance or the competing thoughts of what you've seen that person before as to what they are now, you go blind. You go blind to it. You put it to the side and say, oh, no, that's not how you do it. That's not him. I know that's not her. She never would do that. I know that's not them. They wouldn't promote things like that. And anytime that's brought up or someone brings to your attention that they're doing something, you dismiss it because of the fact that, no, this person has helped me so much. They could not do no wrong. How? We get stuck in, we forget the fact that at the end of the day, that person is also a human being. If you want to talk about human beings, but they are a being here on this earth. So there is no, you can do right. There is nothing you can never do wrong. There is always going to be some points where someone falls. But if they're accountable for their actions and what they've done, that's a different story. But when you get stuck in the mind of basically dismissing everything that they've done and said nothing is wrong, they haven't done anything wrong in your eyes and everybody else is tripping, you get lost into the idolization. So that's a con of you following a guiding light, is that you can get stuck in that, and that creates a crutch in itself. As well as a second one to that too is you become reliant on that person and their moves. So anything that that person is doing and promoting and have going on, and you're not able to create your own, thoughts, your own talking points, your own feelings for yourself, you always got to check in and see what the guiding light is doing. And that's how it's going to help you stay structured. When, and hence, that guiding light should be an example for you to lead and create your own way in life. But that's not in this particular case, because that is when you get deep into, I cannot thrive unless this person is here with me. So creating almost a codependency on someone that you may have not even met. They're just there. There's someone in a high status on TV. It may be a mentor that you know, but a lot of times for people, it's someone that they see on a big screen or that they see in a very high position. So be mindful that you can also get caught in deep idolization, that it also prevents you from being the best that you can, creating codependency, knowing that you can do it within yourself and everything outside of is an addition to who you are. And when it comes to text, I say the very same thing. Whether if it's a text, whether it's a book, whether if it is a saying, which a lot of things do get debunked and a lot of things are halfway said, like the root of all evil is money or greed. When you read more of the verses and more of the lines, you come to get the whole picture. It can become a con because of the fact that you have false information. And based off of that false information, how you've lived your life, you lived your life with half the picture. So making sure you get the full picture so that then you can get the full understanding, understanding, overstanding, and outerstanding. Yes, I went through all four of those levels of the saying so that you can properly use it again to promote and improve your life. And you pass that on to other people and see if that serves them or if it doesn't serve them. But it's all in the realm of there's something there that you're using to help build upon your current self is basically the whole gist of a guiding light. And it is up to you on how you decipher that, decode it, decrypt it. Yes, I'm doing all of these different words. Synonyms, antonyms, all of these words you want to know because my name is an acronym. Besides me being goofy, back to really the gist of it is it's important to know if you have a guiding light, a guiding principle, and you remind yourself on how to use that guiding light and principle to help improve upon yourself. For me, in particular, the guiding principle that I have, and if y'all haven't caught on to it, is remember to keep your pace, which is patience, awareness, consistency, and empathy. And as I'm saying that, empathy is playing in the background. I love the timing. I swear today it's been 3 times already in this live, y'all. But for me, that is seen as a guiding light and a guiding principle because it always brings me back not only to the present moment of being patient, but also being aware of what's happening around me, being consistent in my thought, words, deeds, and behaviors, as well as empathizing not only with myself, but others around me. So then I can have this complete, full idea of keeping my pace, of being able to pick it up when needed, to slow it down, and to keep a consistent pace when life gets rough, life gets hard, whatever it is. But that is an example of my guiding principle and how, for me personally, how I use it as a check-in to make sure, am I keeping my pace? Again, am I being patient? Am I being aware? Am I being consistent? And am I empathizing? And as I use that, it helps to get me to come back and have a moment of introspection, a moment to sit back, because we're always moving and always thinking and doing things, but a moment to sit back and to really recollect what happened throughout the day and to improve upon what can be done tomorrow. If I wasn't patient enough, I'll make sure to think about being more patient in situations, even if they bring a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, or if they're a good learning lesson at that time. Learn to be more patient. Same thing, being aware. Maybe I fail. I need to make sure next time that I'm a lot more cautious of where I'm stepping and moving, so that I can prevent things like that of hurting myself or falling. And vice versa with Eric settle with consistency, and same thing with empathy. But that's my example again of a guiding light and a guiding principle that I use for myself. But overall, as you guys are adding and put what you have inside in the comments, your guiding light is as powerful and useful as the person who is holding that light. And when I mean by the person that's holding that light, I'm talking about you. So, if you don't use it to its full potential, which it can be upgraded, it can be discussed, it can be vetted and over, discerned over and over, you will either stay in the same state that you are, dip below that state, or improve and rise above. So you can hold that candlestick, which is that guiding light, but if you don't replace the candle wax or replace the battery charger, if you're doing a USB charged light, whatever type of way that you want to use this analogy or see this analogy, you have to put some type of effort in your own work into it, so that that light does not fade out, does not give out, does not die out. And when you put your own spin and energy into it, that is where you begin to see how it can help mold and shape your life and yourself. So overall, please, guiding light, guiding principles, wonderful things to have, but use it and discern it and make sure that it is benefiting you if that's what you want it to do for you. If not, take time to look at it and make sure that you are following that person for these certain type of reasons, and know that that person is a human at the end of the day. They can make mistakes and error. So learn from those. Or if it's a principle, that it can be tested and come out and see on the other side if that test rings true. If it does not, then it's time for you to update the principle and that outlook. Yes, I'm using my body. I like to use my body. But that's what I have regarding principles. If y'all have any more, and if y'all want to share any on that, as again, don't want to ramble so much, please put them down in the comments. Share your thoughts on it, because again, I'm grateful for y'all's support, grateful for y'all being here. We're not able to build unless we have builders. I can be a part, but at the same time, there is the work to be done as a community. So thank y'all for y'all's part. Now for tonight's last topic, we're going to talk about, where do you part ways with your past? And again, this is my spiel where I come in and I'm saying, if you haven't noticed now, this is your time now to notice the connections between the topics every time and why I choose and put them. I do them on purpose. We're talking about guiding lights. We're talking about people. We're talking about principles that can help lead you. And what do those principles and things can also do? They're a part of your experience. And what is your past? Your past is an experience that you've had in your life. So, to answer and to get into the question now, where do you part ways with your past? First thing I'm going to say is it is dependent upon what part of your past you're speaking about. If you're talking about your childhood, whether if it's your education, you're talking about your childhood, whether if it's your upbringing, whether if you were in a suburb, where you were in a rural place, where you were in the hood, whether if you're in a poverty-stricken place, low economic situation, whatever you describe it as, all those different levels of, I like to say, people and person activity. Shouts out to Neely Fuller Jr. Wherever you see those different activities, areas of people activities, that's where you would describe whether if you can part ways with your past or not. And that can be even a heartbreak. That can be trauma. That can be any type of event that has some type of hold on you, like an anchor, that is very hard to not only forget, but be able to overcome, in a sense of, is it going to be fully gone? No. But being able to address it will help bring about growth and change in yourself versus keeping it along with you as baggage. It will still be there, but imagine it more so as air underneath you that's helping you to spread your wings and fly into your new life and experience. So where do you part ways with your past? You can find it where those experiences really touch home or touch base the most. For me, letting go parts of my particular past had to do with my initial upbringing. And that's me being without a father. Really not having a father figure here with me inside my home. Again, it's the fourth time. To give me some type of guidance and understand what it means to be a man and where to walk and find myself in this world as not only a man, but as a black man in particular, and be able to play this game. And what part of that past did I have to part ways with? More so, I parted ways with the idea of ever interacting, meeting, or talking with my father. Because, again, I don't know where he may be or what may happen or what the situation was. But I am more at ease for being able to address the fact that he wasn't here, that he did not provide me with any guidance, and to be upset, mad, angry, confused, all the emotions that you can give if I were ever to meet him. Now you're asking, okay, how can that have happened? Like, how have you been able to overcome, go past, and do all of that stuff? A lot of it took a lot of meditation, a lot of thought, a lot of visualization, as well as conversations with my mom, as well as conversations with my own trusted role models that I ended up gravitating to as a boy, as a child. And these are other adults that are men in my life that have helped me to look at that. As well as shouts out to my brothers too. My brothers who are very close to me. Not blood, but man, blood couldn't be no more thicker than that. To help me be able to process and really delve deep into why did I have these feelings, and if he were ever to come back, how would you respond? And for me, it's gotten to the point that, again, I wouldn't be truly mad or upset it wouldn't even be much of indifference. It would just be more so, hey man, you weren't here, understand it, and it'll be just a calm conversation if need be. And even if it never happened, I am also alright with that too. So that is a portion of my past that, in a sense, I parted ways with, which basically I addressed it. And it's helped to have one other thing lingering in my mind at the end of the day. So I'm not saying everything in your past has to be dealt with at that immediate moment in time, as well as not everything in your past is a negative or traumatic experience, but there's something there in your past that helps to inform your present that will ultimately help you make decisions towards your future. So do not fear and do not cripple yourself into thinking that anything that I address in my past is not going to help the outcome of today or tomorrow. That's why, again, even in the current events, we were talking about mental health and therapy and speaking with people. It's important that you take these resources seriously, because of the fact that if you're able to address those different pieces and parts in your past, because most of the time, y'all, the reason why we feel certain emotions and we feel certain ways about stuff is because something has happened in the past. You can't be mad about what's going to happen in the future just yet, because we don't even know what's going to happen in the next 10 seconds. I don't even know what's going to happen in the next 3 seconds. But I'm able to know what happened in the past, address the past, figure out what happened in the past to help bring about information that can help me grow in the present, so that I can move forward in the future and create a future that I want to see, because of the fact that I brought all of this with me. And however you want to look at the concept of present, future, past, whether if you see the past is in front of you because it's something you're facing and the future is behind you because it's unknown, however you want to look at it in an analogy and example wise, you got to find times to go through your past and be able to siphon and determine what needs to be seen and looked at, so that you can use that as information to help yourself. And also, how you part ways with your past is also coming to know how that has affected people around you. So maybe there is a relationship in the past that you truly didn't fully understand, or you didn't fully delve into because of fear. Maybe it's because of you were angry, confusion, any other emotion from that made that relationship and that bond or bridge to be burnt. Going back to address those type of relationships, like for me, I said with my father, helps to figure out now when I'm moving forward, or before I'm stepping backwards, how life can be and how it can look when I get into this particular job, or I get into this field, or I get into the entertainment business, the health, medicine, wherever you put in your skills and your different types of strengths will go job wise in helping in this world, or might be subtracting from this world. I'm not saying anything else. Whatever you want, whatever it may be, however you're going to find that, you'll know that addressing those things will help inform how you can see future situations. Because again, like I said earlier, we as human beings are always putting things into boxes so that we can have the proper information before taking the leap. Because a lot of us do weigh the pros and the cons, the goods and the bads, on whether we're going to go through an experience or not. So it's all a part of the game. And however you want to process that game it comes down to how beneficial is it going to be. Because yes, we're always going to talk about what's going to be beneficial, because again, we want to improve. Yes, you can also see what's not going to serve you at all, and you can have that there as an option. But I will say this: in the beginning, doing what's good for you will be a difficult thing to do, which go. And sitting back, doing what you're already comfortable with will be the easy thing to do. But what happens in the long term of you putting in the work of doing something that was hard initially, it becomes a lot easier. And the thing that you used to do, just sitting there chilling, relaxing, not doing anything at all, becomes harder to do because of the fact that now you've put yourself in a situation, in a spot, and in an environment that is doing you a disservice, that is doing more harm than good for you, that now you have to continue to make the decision to whether if you're going to stay in that environment, because you've already been here this whole time and you don't want to move because of the fact that you have so much attachment to the time that you've put to just being comfortable, versus stepping out and now trying that other option of something new to help improve yourself. All that woven in together to address your past experiences, which is, again, the whole set to today. And those guiding lights, to bring it back into the conversation, can be a part of you in your process of being able to part ways with your past. Because you can take plays from their book of how they addressed their past. Another example that just pops into my head, there's a lot of self-help books that authors have done, autobiographies. I'm forgetting the one military-minded guy. I have his book, actually, and I'm actually going to look it up. But another example of a person, at least within times of us right now, that have archived and noted down their past experiences and being able to deal with them in the present, and have talked about him before, Will Smith. And you're like, okay, why are you bringing up Will Smith in particular? In his book, Will, you start to get to see how the behaviors and the experiences that he had in his past, that either he was not able to let go, or was working on letting go in this moment, shows you how not only, of course, we're flawed as people, but it shows you how it has such an impact on your future growth, on your present growth. If you're not able to let go and be able to address things in your past and let it be, or not only it is what it is, but you make it what it is because you address it, you're able to find more of a balance, more of a peace, serenity, and calmness once being able to face the issue and face your past head on. Yes, it's a scary thing. Doing the shadow work, any other phrasing you want to use by it, it is a very scary and very tough thing to do. But I will tell you, your future self will greatly appreciate you for taking those steps and those bounds to do so. Because of the fact that if you do not, it makes it even harder for your future self to get to see the light at the end. Then that makes it harder for if you bringing future generations into this. If you're having kids and bringing other people into your life, it makes it harder for you to be able to go and do that self-work. To go back and to address those things in the past so that they do not repeat themselves. And we do not create these cycles that continue on to a point that, like I said, it just goes on and on and on and on and on till there has been no release or no break from that current cycle. Now, let me see. I'm looking into the book, but if y'all have stuff, please add it in here while I am saying it. And shouts out to seeing everybody that's up in here. Thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate y'all staying with me and, again, showing me love through this. But what type of past are y'all facing? If y'all want to share, you don't necessarily have to. And how are you getting over that currently right now? So how are you parting ways with your past? While I look for this book, I know it is called Can't Hurt Me. And let me see if I get it right. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. How am I forgetting this man? So this brother has a book. It's called Can't Hurt Me. Master your mind and defy the odds. And this guy is ex-military. I'm not gonna say the whole thing because I haven't got to fully read the book myself. But David Goggins, and this is another prime example of someone who, in his past, have had all these different experiences that helped shape and molded him to be the person that he is now. His philosophy, his way of life, again, philosophy, the way that he conducts himself, as well as how he addresses situations, issues, emotions, problems, everything. And written on paper, put in a book, shared around the whole world as information for us to grab and to vicariously learn from. The book, Becoming a Guiding Light. Again, are you saying the Bible, any other types of books, any type of information to inform brings enlightenment. Again, all the plays on light and everything else and how it works. But it's true. You don't come into knowing until you've put and shed some type of light on it. Y'all would not see me if I didn't turn all of these. If I turn all of these lights off, there's nothing there until you put some type of exposure, even with a camera, and you would put the positions of how you take the picture and add that exposure into the using the light. You're able to clearly see the picture. You're able to vividly see the different pixels. You're able to see all the different shades, the shapes of the person or the thing that you're taking a picture of. Yes, I'm going off into so many different concepts and examples, but just to drive home that all of this is made possible or is here at your disposal for you to go back and to address and to part ways with aspects of your past. Again, it's not to say that you're going to completely delete it from your mind. No, think of it more so as a checklist or as a scar that was currently there and you finally gave it the time to properly heal because you addressed the wound. You put more, I was about to say, woo, that was the wrong word. You put more alcohol, you cleaned it up, you put vapes, wherever end up medicine, herb that you needed, and now it's properly healed. Now you have more time to go and address the other wounds. You're able to go back and, again, start to create your body, yourself, in more of a state of balance, peace, calmness, any of that. Unless you want your life to be chaotic, you want to continue to live a lifestyle that is dysfunctional, go for it. I'm not saying this is the only way to be, that you only need to be positive, and I'm not saying that. You just need to be practical, need to be realistic of what's happening in front of you. You cannot just let great opportunities pass you by without giving it a try. Bars. I'm just playing. But ultimately, we're all here for some type of answer, some type of experience that is going to guide us towards what we're ultimately here to do, or what we are here to bring in the same token. Both sides, multiple sides. So where do you part ways with your past? You part ways with your past in areas that are doing a disservice to you. Taking it and running with it so that you can create a better future, a better outlook, a better holistic environment for yourself, for your future kids, your future families, your future generations, so that they can create more of those cycles to help improve or create a different process along the way. So don't be afraid to stare back at your shadow. Don't be afraid to address your past. But find the resources and the means to do so. Because when you do that work, I am telling you, you are going to be doing such a great thing for your future self and your current self. There will be less loads of stress on you. You'll be able to find moments to disconnect from things like this and to go within yourself or in a community of people with your guiding light or your guiding principle and create that straight path or that curved path or whatever type of shaped path that you're creating to get to your purpose, your goals, your whys, your values, your principles, so that you can, wherever, if it's you making money, is you surviving in this world, you passing on knowledge to people, you uplifting people. Hopefully, again, for those who are listening, is like, I want to do the complete opposite. Okay. But just know, however you're using that, use it to the ability that it can be used, so that all of that information, all of those past experiences can be brought to the present, addressed in the present, and you can move forward towards the future or be ready for what is to come from the future. But yeah, y'all, that's all I got before I get back into this circle of rambling again. But if y'all have any final thoughts on this, or you want to share your thoughts on where do you part ways with your past, please put them now as I am looking and doing this. And again, I'm going to count this. It's been 5 times a song comes on that it just comes into this concept. And you're wondering what songs. These are songs that I've made. You can go check out all my stuff if you want. Yes, I'm doing self-promotion right now. But again, you want to know some of the story that I got in the songs. So go check it out. Link in the bio for all of those. Bandcamp, all those different places. And I do got a project coming out. I'll talk about that at another time. But please share your thoughts. Put them down in the comments. I see y'all over there later on Instagram and also YouTube. Just put them in there. I'm not trying to debo y'all into this. I'm just saying, write it in the comments so that you can even come back and look at this as a note for you that you wrote a long time. As long as YouTube keeps my stuff up. So, YouTube, please don't. All right, y'all. To wrap up with the show for tonight, when it comes to current events, main thing to take away from it is use it as a resource to help inform your decisions, whether if it is to help you, your family members, your loved ones, and all of those around you, because proper preparation prevents poor performance. And second, when it comes to a guiding light, the guiding light, or just a guiding light, be able to learn from, vicariously learning from the principal, from the person that you are looking up to, or that is in your circle that is providing you with the information. Take the information Apply it where needed in your life. Other parts of it, leave it where it needs to be, so that you can improve upon yourself and that you can pass on that knowledge to the next person so that they can remix it to help fit and mold into their character. And lastly, where do you part ways with your past? You part ways with your past where the parts in your life is needed to be addressed. So whether if that's experiences in your childhood, whether if that's experiences with your relationships with your parents and family, whether if that's experiences with your job, education, wherever it is in your past experiences. Because once you do tend to those wounds and let those wounds properly heal, you are able to take less baggage off of yourself, feel much lighter and free with seeing your growth in the present and in the future to come. But with that, y'all, thank y'all so much for coming for What's the Word Wednesdays. Another episode 17. Again, this is the second to last, but next week will be the season finale of What's the Word Wednesdays. It'll be episode 18. You'll find out all the topics and things later. But with that, y'all, I've been your brother A.D.V.I.S. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for everyone that's watching. And I will catch y'all next Wednesday. Other than that, keep pushing. Keep your pace, patience, awareness, consistency, and empathy. And just know you are powerful. You are strong. You are worthy. And you will live this life to the best of your ability. Peace and love. I'm out.